19 stories, 140 years. Boston row houses and Texas prairies, London confession rooms and Paris apartments, a bathtub of cash in Brooklyn, and an ocean of seawater in New Jersey. Different centuries, different currencies, different men, and one machine running underneath all of them, unchanged. By our count across this season, the schemes in this series moved over $500 million of their era's money out of trusting hands and into the pockets of the confident. And that's just 20 stories. The real total across history has no bottom. So tonight, no new villain. Tonight we do the thing the victims never got to do in time. We lay all 19 side by side and we find the pattern. Because it is a pattern, precise, repeatable, and running somewhere near you right now. By the end of this episode, you will be able to see it coming. That's the whole reason this channel exists. Strip away the coupons and the matches and the fertilizer tanks. And every scheme we've studied is built from the same 4 ingredients. Miss one and the con doesn't work. Assemble all 4 and it works almost every time. Ingredient 1, a source of trust that outruns scrutiny. Ponzi had a neighbor's testimony. Kreuger had a portfolio of nations and a magazine cover. Cassie Chadwick borrowed Andrew Carnegie's name. Bottomley wrapped himself in the flag. Estes in the church. Musica built an entire fake man to be trusted. The trust is always borrowed or manufactured, and it always arrives before anyone thinks to check it. Ingredient 2, a story too good to interrogate. 50% in 45 days. A legal loophole in the postal system. Carnegie's secret daughter. Drake's 300-year inheritance. The story is engineered to be simple enough to repeat and exotic enough that verifying it feels like an insult. Or an impossibility. Ingredient 3, a victim the system has left a side door open for. This is the one almost nobody names, and it's the most important. Ponzi's immigrants shut out of the Brahmin banks. Sarah Howe's women unwelcome at any bank at all. Hartzell's farmers, sure the old country owed them. Estes's cash-poor neighbors. The mark is rarely just greedy. The mark is usually excluded, standing at a locked front door when someone charming appears beside an open side one. Ingredient 4, a clock, hidden or denied. Every scheme is a countdown. Ponzi and Miller owed impossible returns on a fixed date, fast clocks, quick deaths. Kreuger and Insull built slow, complex clocks that took years to run down. Hartzell's genius was a promise with no clock at all, which is why his ran the longest. But the clock is always there, and it is always running. Watch the 4 ingredients play out, and every one of these stories follows the exact same arc. Once you know the shape, you can tell where you're standing on it. Phase 1, the proof. The early investors get paid, really paid, in real money on time. This is the most important phase because it manufactures the witnesses. 520% Miller's first $2 dividends recruited a congregation. The proof isn't a lie. It's bait, and it's bought with the next victim's money. Phase 2, the flood. The witnesses do the selling now, not the con man. Brothers tell brothers, pews tell pews. The finance companies pass the paper around. Growth goes vertical. And here the schemer stops chasing money and starts drowning in it. Cash in bathtubs, in laundry baskets, in walk-in vaults. This is the phase that feels, to everyone inside it, like being right. Phase 3, the tell. The money buys the mansion, the yacht, the racehorses. And this is not weakness, it's advertising. Every diamond Cassie Chadwick wore was proof the Carnegie millions were real. The luxury is load-bearing. It's also for you, the watcher, the first visible symptom. Phase 4, the question. Someone does arithmetic. A journalist, an auditor, a stubborn treasurer, an envious rival, a man lowering a stick into a tank. It is almost never the authorities and almost never early. It's one person who declines to find verification insulting. Phase 5, the run, and the last performance. Confronted, the schemer does not flee. They perform confidence. Ponzi served coffee and donuts to the panicking crowd and paid everyone who asked. Kreuger announced new loans. Sarah Howe paid withdrawals with theatrical calm. This works, briefly, because confidence is the whole product. And then the cash runs out, and the arc completes. Here's the hard truth this season keeps circling. The pattern doesn't work despite us being reasonable. It works because we are. It exploits trust, and trust is not a flaw. A society where everyone verifies everything grinds to a halt. We survive by extending reasonable faith to neighbors, institutions, official letterheads, the man with the impressive title. The con simply stands exactly where that faith is already flowing and holds out a bucket. It exploits exclusion. And exclusion is the system's fault, not the victim's. Every scheme in this series found people the legitimate world had failed and offered them the dignity and the returns the front door denied them. That's why the sharpest lesson isn't "don't be greedy." It's that a society leaves a side door for a swindler every time it locks someone out of the front, and it exploits our inability to separate confidence from competence. We are built to read certainty as truth. Livermore read the market better than any man alive and still couldn't stop believing his own conviction. If the genius who wrote the manual couldn't audit the voice in his own head, the person in the mirror is the hardest mark any of us will ever face. So here is what 19 dead schemes buy you, a checklist the victims never had. Not financial advice. Pattern recognition. 1. When the return is impossible, it is not a loophole. It's the countdown. Nobody found the crack in the postal system, the tank of oil, the Drake estate. If the math can't be beaten, it isn't being beaten. 2. Secrecy is not a privilege. It's the product. Every scheme demanded silence and dressed it as exclusivity, discretion, or protecting the deal. When you're told that questioning would be rude or would spoil something, that is the machine protecting itself with your own manners. 3. Watch who's doing the selling. When your fellow victims have become the sales force, when it's your brother, your pastor, your neighbor swearing by it, you are not looking at proof. You are looking at phase 2. 4. Find the clock. Ask the one question the con is built to deflect. Where exactly does the money come from? And what happens when new money stops arriving? If the honest answer is more people, you found the countdown. Everything else is decoration. 5. And last. The most dangerous con doesn't hide. It wears a flag, a collar, a title, a magazine cover, a time cover, a cabinet post. It positions itself as your protector, your fellow patriot, the enemy of the very crime it's committing. The swindler the crowd carries on its shoulders takes more than the one who runs. Ponzi, Kreuger, Lustig, Alves dos Reis, Chadwick, Howe, Miller, Hartzell, Whitney, Wiggin, Musica, Bottomley, Fall, De Angelis, Estes, and the honest ghost, Livermore, and the honest panic of 1907, in the gallery to remind us the same forces move when no one is even lying. Every one of them told a different story. Every one of them ran the same machine. Because, and if you remember one sentence from this entire series, make it this one: money was never paper. It was never gold or coupons or oil in a tank or tanks in a field. Money is belief wearing paper's clothes. Every fortune in this series was real exactly as long as people believed in it and vanished the instant they stopped. The swindlers understood that better than their victims, better than their banks, better sometimes than themselves. The machine is running somewhere near you tonight. Now you know its shape. Thank you for watching the first season of Paper Empire. The gallery is far from full. There are 100 more empires built on lies, and we're only getting started. Subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.